I'm Peter, and I'm here with Steve.
Hey, everyone.
And Colin.
Hello, hello.
And Bairnt.
Greetings.
And Mike.
Okay, yes.
And Jason.
Yo, my peoples, what's up?
And I'm not going to repeat the same joke I did last time.
Don't
so let's get going.
Don't do it.
So if you missed the first part, we did it this past Sunday. This is our countdown to episode 200 of the podcast. We are doing our top 50 games. So last week we did 50 through 31. So if you want to know what those were, too bad we're not recapping it this week. Go back, see last week's episode, listen to last week's episode. It was great. It was hilarious. A lot of laughing. So yeah, let's get going with our next 20, right? We're doing 30 through number 11.
Episode number 199. Congratulations, gentlemen. 199. The next episode will be 200. We're going to count down 20 games. Once again, for people who are just stumbling into this one for the first time, it will be on Shelf Story. So the video, that's why we're saying over here, hi. Thank you very much, Bairnt, once again for putting on the shirt. Thank you very much, Colin, for finding your camera. Thank you very much, Mike, for orienting your camera properly. I mean, it's a giant mess. But we are one big happy family here at the One Stop Co-op Shop. So we're very happy to bring you the audio and the visual and all our thoughts about the games. So what happened was everybody ranked the top 100 games, and I aggregated them into one Uber Master Co-op One Stop Co-op Shop list. So I've gone through 50 to 31. This is 30 to 11. They will be presented. I will present the rest of the games. We're going to figure out the best way to do that and post the spreadsheets. So we'll go through that. But for episode 199, the penultimate SAT word episode, we are going to get started with that. All right. So we are going to get into our number 30, 266 points, which is, we're starting to really wrap up there. I'm going to throw this one over to Peter.
All right. That must mean it's good.
I think everyone has a pretty positive opinion of this except for a couple of us, but I'm going to let him talk about 5-Minute Dungeon.
Oh, nice. I just played this with my wife and kids the other day. Gosh, it is still good. It's so amazing. And the expansion, I think, makes it better without adding a lot of complication. But just the base game's great. So if you don't know what it is, it's played in 5 minutes, and you basically get a hand of cards. You have, I guess, depending on player count, anywhere from like 3 to 4 to 5 cards, something like that. And then you're just playing out cards to match whatever the monster or obstacle has. So they might say they need fire and a sword to get rid of, or a shield and something. And you're just playing cards as fast as you can down the table, drawing them up. It's frantic 5 minutes trying to get through like 20 levels of this dungeon and then beat the boss at the end. It's just, for real-time fun, you can't beat it. It's real great, and it's one-off, right? It literally is 5 minutes. Then you can throw everything back in the box and try to sort it out next time you play.
Colin, you had a really good playthrough of this in the One Stop Co-op Shop with your wife, I think it was.
Colin's like an expert. Like, my family and I lose to like the first boss. Colin's like playing the highest level boss. They're like, boom, 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 ding, you're gone, bam, I'm out of here. My family and I are like, does somebody have a sword? Sword, anybody.
Just discarding cards if you don't have a sword, okay? You just discard cards, you get some more. No, we love that game. Yeah. What I love about it is it works really well, any player count, and of course, simultaneous play. You're playing all at the same time. You're yelling at each other in a nice way. You're having a blast. And 5 minutes, it's so quick. And you're just like, oh, let's go on to the next guy. And all of a sudden, you play 10 or 12 games in 20 minutes. It's wonderful. Love it.
And Bairnt has it rated pretty high because it has the word dungeon in it.
That had to be the reason I put it there. Actually, I think I grouped all the 5 minutes together because all the 5 minutes I've played, I've really enjoyed. The mystery, the dungeon, even the Marvel one is good. I play that with my kids, and the kids are starting to now get into the dungeon one and really get the dynamics of it. So yeah, all 5 of them are a lot of fun, or all the 5-minute games are a lot of fun.
Not as high for you, Mike?
No, I'd like to try it again. It didn't go over well with my kids, and that kind of brought it down in my mind. So I don't really have a good reason why.
Okay. No, but it's an excellent, like, again, gateway-ish real-time game.
Yeah.
5-minute dungeon. So 267 points right behind it. Number 29. This is a me special, but I'm going to throw it over to Steve because I know Steve enjoys this as well. This was like my number 7 overall, but Steve also rated it highly. It is Flashpoint Fire Rescue.
Oh, yes. This game, you're playing firefighters, entering burning buildings, rescuing people. Really, you just got to rescue enough people before the building burns down. Pretty simple. But yeah, this one has an awesome mechanic where as you add smoke becomes fire, and fire becomes explosion. So like things can really ramp up, and like walls can fall down, but that could be a good thing because now you can get to people easier. And the one thing that really sets it apart is you have a lot of knobs to turn, especially after the expansions, because the maps change things in significant ways. And these other modules where you can have like ladders to do, and like you can have different levels too. You can actually increase the size of the buildings you go explore into, and it's easy. It's easy that people can approach it nicely. Like my son's played it, and he understands. Like, oh yeah, look at the numbers on the rows and columns. I can understand that something goes there, right? So yeah, this one's ranks very high for me. But you have to get tragic events. My opinion. This expansion did so much for that game because they removed that fiddly component. The hotspots are tiny pieces, known from all over the place, and the events just really breathe life into the game. Where you've got like, oh wow, now we have this. Hey, board gamer over there have to say, hey, I got to save his games. Let's go help him out. Or like, hey, there's this elderly person who has a oxygen breather, right? They're in a lot of danger with the fire nearby. So, but yes, definitely recommend this one.
By the way, here's a plug for Shelf Stories before Jason goes. Go over and watch the video during this explanation, Steve's explanation. All of us are shaking our head like, yeah. Bairnt, I don't think he's alive. He literally didn't move once during the entire explanation. Everybody else was like, yeah, it's a really good game. You can tell who didn't vote for this one. Bairnt's like just sitting there like deadpan the entire time. I think
we are hitting a stretch where we're gonna have to just put a blanket over Bairnt's little thing. We'll call you again.
Disappear down my little hole.
Just go paint some minis. Come back in an hour.
I didn't rate it because I never played it.
That's early. You can sleeve some more cards.
It sounds like a game I need to try though, because a lot of people seem to be going like this.
Yes, there's a lot of bobbing on it.
Except for Colin, who did not rate it on his list at all. Colin, why do you hate fun?
Oh, that's terrible. I'm terrible. I don't know why. I mean, I played it with my kids, but I guess it just didn't come to my mind. I guess I didn't record that I'd played it because I'd only played it with my kids.
You listed some garbage on your list.
I know. It's true. I feel really bad.
The bottom 10 of your list is some detritus that is just I've never heard of in my entire life. And Flashpoint Fire Rescue did not make the list. What is wrong with you, man?
I'm so sorry.
What is Victoriana? Sorry. I have no idea what that is.
You don't know what Victoriana is? That's actually a good game. Thank you.
I watched his video. That was fun. I watched it.
It's not ahead of Flashpoint.
London Dread down there? That's still a game.
London Dread.
Boom, boom, boom. Okay, but yes, I can't believe I didn't have Flashpoint on there. I'm shamed. Anyway. I'm fully shamed.
Just kidding. Gosh. Flashpoint, our number 29. 28 is another me special, but I'm going to throw it to, I think this is Peter. I'm going to throw this one to 271 points for Sentinels of the Multiverse.
That's not me. That's Mike.
That's definitely me.
I did. Oh no,
that's definitely not me. Drake, everybody
in home. Peter and Mike again. This is terrible.
That's definitely not me.
All right, so Sentinels of the Multiverse is.
Well, hold on. Before we go further, let me just say, Jason, you had our names on the list. You didn't have our pictures, anything else. Like, how could you get it wrong from the transposing the list to this list? You got it wrong. Like, I don't understand that.
This is what I'm looking at. It is. Okay, there it is. That's what I'm looking at. There are no names.
Oh, so there's no names.
No nothing.
You're just guessing on some of these.
I'm kind of like looking at the position. It's not pretty, people.
Okay,
we're low
got
tech.
it.
I don't have another computer with another screen over here. I wish I did.
Got it.
Anyway,
well, so Sentinels of the Multiverse. This is a modular deck game. One of the I think most prominent early ones, where you're superheroes and you face off a villain in an environment. Famous, and this is probably my biggest negative, for the fiddliness of having to deal with like 85 effects. And you have like +5 to electricity damage, but -2 to damage for this guy, but only if it's a Wednesday, and like all this crazy stuff. But that being said, so this is one that I like a lot with my family, even more than solo. And it's one that I don't really recommend though. Like I put it high for me and my personal enjoyment, but I don't recommend it because I played it like hundreds of times. and I know which decks are fun and which aren't. And I just don't play entire swaths of the decks. Like, I'm never going to play. Oh my gosh, what is that guy's name? The like assassin dude who like has the drugs and oh my gosh. Yeah, no, not guys. The enemy, the enemy who like injects himself.
Yeah, Spite.
Yeah, Spite is like anti-fun in every way.
He's anti-fun, yes.
He's so terrible. So yeah, there's like a lot of that stuff. But I will say the core game, if you just get the base set, those heroes tend to be fun and those villains tend to be fun. You can stop there and be good. Everything else you get after that is hit or miss. So I like it a lot, but it does have a lot of flaws.
Steve, you did have it rated not as highly, I assume, because you prefer Street Masters?
Yes, absolutely. I think Street Masters is much better for me than this game because it exactly what Mike said. I agree completely. The filliness of it just really hurts this game for me. And I played on the app. I like the app a lot. And for me, it's a good app game because I don't have to worry about all the affiliate overhead because the characters are interesting. They do a good job with the characters. I guess the other thing that hasn't been mentioned yet, but the one thing I don't like about Sentinels as well is there are cards in the game that just kind of wipe your board. Right?
Oh God, it's the worst. I hate it.
Yeah. Because for me, like the fun is building up and like feeling powerful, and then it's like, oh yeah, you're powerful, you did all this work, and nope, just kidding, start over, and you can build back up. It's not a huge deal, but like I don't like that in my games. I don't mind some setbacks, but just don't wipe my board, please.
Yeah, it's like you want to play Batman when he's got his whole utility belt and the Batmobile. You don't want to play Batman after his back has been broken by Bane and he's been like dropped in the sewer. You know what I mean? And the game definitely does that to you sometimes.
Right. Jason, we haven't heard much from you, man. What are your thoughts?
I love it. I'm trying to play host over here.
I know, but we want to hear from you too, man. What do you think?
I mean, Peters did such a good job of breaking it down. It's
oh my gosh, Jason!
Peter is fantastic. Peter.
That was nice.
Yes, Peter.
Oh my God!
We talk to each other quite often.
Maybe we should move their pictures around.
I thought he did that on purpose, you guys. I thought he literally did that on purpose.
All right, I'm changing my name.
A couple of purpose ones. Wasn't that one? That wasn't.
I'm going to change my name so that way.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, Jason.
Sentinels, Mike did a great job.
Mike
and not Mike. I like it.
So I changed my name to not Mike for those of you in here.
Not
Peter
Mike.
is now not Mike on the Zoom call. It's amazing. All right, excellent. So we are going to go to our number 27, another deck builder. Getting back to deck builders, this one is Colin, Peter, and Mike. Both rated it super high. The rest of us could probably grab a sandwich. Good job, Bairnt. There we go. Yeah, Bairnt's out of here. But this one, I have played. I struggle with this one. So, one of you tell me why Heroes of Tenefear rated so highly.
That's Mike's game.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh my gosh. I literally tell this to my son. I played this like 6 times in the last 2 days. Yeah, so this is it's a deck builder and it's also a push your luck game. The kind of core mechanic is your what do you say?
I was giving it a thumbs down. I was thinking of a totally different game. Never mind.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say, I was like, I didn't know you'd played this, Bear.
No, I haven't played this one.
I was really surprised you had such a negative reaction to it. Yeah, so it's a deck builder. You're cooperating to fight monsters together, and each person takes turns drawing 3 cards at a time from their deck, and they have to sit with those 3 cards or discard them and draw 3 new cards. And that's where like all the fun comes in. I love this mechanic, and you get like, I mean, it's a really epic kind of experience. How you go from trash, like your deck is literally the worst crap you've ever seen at the beginning of the game. And by the end, you are like nightmarishly slaying like 5 guys in a row, like getting like 20 points of damage. It's one of the best games I've seen for that kind of feeling. Great cooperation because the push your luck when you're playing co-op is like so tense. It's like, well, I can only give you 3. Is that okay? And you're like, no, it's not okay. How am I going to get 7 points, you crazy person? So yeah, this has especially with the expansion, which came out, I think, or late last year, this one has risen like way up to very, very high on my top list of games. I recommend this to everybody.
Colin, you agree?
Couldn't agree more. Absolutely love the push your luck. Absolutely love how quick it plays too. It's nice and fast. I love the draw 3, keep them discard. You've got easy choices, but then you have long-term effects because of it. Love when you get up to that boss fight, you feel like, oh my, how am I going to take this guy out? And all of a sudden you do, and you're like, this is amazing card throw. So yeah, definitely love that game.
All right.
Yeah,
Peter?
it's funny. We've talked about a lot of games and whether they're good co-op or not. I mean, I guess more last week, but this one and Battle for Greyport for me are the two that do co-op really, really, really well. Right. I mean, they're all about the co-op. They're not about the puzzliness. They're not about whatever else. These are games where when you're at the table with people, there's more cooperation in these than probably almost every other co-op that we're going to list on here. So that's why it rose so high for me is the cooperation in this is great.
Okay, so that was Heroes of Tenafear deck builder. I liked it okay. I thought it was okay. I didn't think there was a lot of interesting choices in the deck building. Like I thought, like because I remember I was playing like a two-handed game, and I remember building my decks and everything. And then there was a monster at the end that said, "Shuffle all your decks together and just deal them back out." And I was like, my decks are still good.
Right.
It doesn't require a lot of like crafting of interactable elements like an Aeon's End or some of these other games would. This is like, let's just get a bunch of good cards and and put them out there. That's not bad. It's just I have a different taste of it, but I'm definitely recognizing the cooperation and the push your luck is definitely the.
Have you only played solo, Jason?
Yes.
I think you'd like it better co-op.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's just a better co-op game.
That's the funny thing, because Greyport and Tennefer are both my favorite deck builders right now, like above Aeon's End, for example. And both of them have kind of deck building, but everything else, and especially for co-op, is amazing. Whereas in Aeon's End, I'm like, oh, Peter's taking his turn. Let me go to sleep for a little while. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? Like, I don't even want to pay attention. It's like, you got four money this turn? You didn't get 5 money? You got 4 money? Oh, man, that's exciting. You're going to hit him with a spark again? Yes. Like don't get me wrong.
All right, settle down, fella. Settle down.
Aeon's End is good. I didn't rank it that low. But yeah, like, I don't know. It's like, these games keep me constantly involved in every player's turn. And I love that.
Yeah, because it directly affects you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and Tennefer's quick too. Quick turns, which I really like. It's just you do something, then it's going to be my turn, then the next person, and it's quick, keeps it going.
So that was Heroes of Tenafear. That was number 27, 281 points. So we've gone from 266 to 281. Okay. We're amping up. We're starting to climb up that asymptote over here. Although these three games are tied at 287. So we've kind of hit a little bit of a plateau over there. So I'm surprised that Bairnt did not have it on his list because this is a dungeon has a dungeon motif. It is not a dungeon crawling game, but it's a dungeon motif.
Did it have a campaign?
No.
That's probably why.
Answer right there.
Don't put Bairnt in a corner. Don't put Bairnt in a corner. He only likes dungeon crawlers.
With a campaign.
With a campaign.
Miniatures and campaign. Character progression. Like.
Yep. Oh no, there's no character progression. It just has a dungeon motif. This one is a real-time dice rolling game with a dungeon motif. Which one is it? I'm gonna go over to Mike. Which real-time dice rolling game has a dungeon motif that is awesome?
The one that Peter has on his list is my guess.
Yes, probably. But not Mike. Adventure Tactics?
Escape.
Oh, not Adventure Tactics.
I don't think of that as a dungeon. That's a temple or something.
Totally different. Totally different.
Yeah, so
totally different. There's no treasure in a temple.
No treasure at all.
There for the scenery
or monsters.
And then trying to escape.
All right. It just didn't color. Yeah, I mean, I'll say that I only really came to love Escape with the big box version. Because it adds the quests in, and the quest is what makes Escape for me. It's kind of like Tragic Events and what Steve said for Flashpoint. Without the quest, it's still dumb fun, but it's dumb fun. With the quest, it becomes a little bit more thoughtful and a little bit more varied, and that's all I need for this to be just a rollicking time every time.
Mm-hmm. Real-time dice rolling, just chucking.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm locked down. Come save me. Like, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
The big credit. Everybody run!
There's
Get
a
back!
Soundtrack. This was before apps, so it has like a CD maybe you can get. I think the big problem that people have with this game is that it's your people are kind of like focused on their thing. It's very easy to lie. Or just like miss something. It's like, okay, well, that didn't work or anything like that. So it's kind of like a little bit of an honor system, a little bit more honor system than maybe people are comfortable with. But Escape is my favorite dice rolling game, like that quick kind of dice rolling game. It is excellent. Love Escape. Who else rated it highly? Everyone except for Bairnt
some shocker on that one.
It did appear on your list. So Steve, you're a fan
probably
of Escape?
didn't.
Yeah, this game is a lot of fun. I enjoy. I like the music to it as well. In fact, I was teaching this with my son, and we started when he was younger, just playing without the timer. But eventually, I put the music on, and he got a little too into the games. Like, can we turn off the music because you get that the heavy bass and beat going on? And he was getting really tense. Decided to turn it off. But that is awesome. It really kind of pulls you into the game. And I don't know. I think it's hilarious when you get locked out and you can't talk because you're cursed. And you're trying to wave at people at the table. Look at me! Look at my table! It's crazy fun.
That's what I should do. I should play it with the soundtrack. Then it would probably make my list. Actually, I don't even think did I play this with you, Colin, once?
We were going to. We ended up never playing.
Okay, that's probably why I never got a chance to try.
I need to
though.
Yeah.
It sounds like it because we have to listen to the soundtrack too while we do it.
Definitely.
Oh, isn't it 10 to 20 minutes?
I don't know.
10 minutes long because it's a 10-minute game.
You got a boombox,
you can fit
right?
that in. You can fit that
boombox. I don't have a CD player, so you got a boombox with a CD player on.
They have MP3s for crying out loud, please.
Yeah, there's a YouTube video, I'm sure, at this point.
I do YouTube videos. That's all I do.
There you go. That is Escape Curse of the Temple, our number 26. Also with 287 points. So right there, we're going to bring Bairnt back in. This was very highly rated for him, his number 8 game overall. So obviously a dungeon crawling campaign with a lot of minis that he can paint. This one is Sword and Sorcery.
Really? I'm the one that rated the highest.
Yes.
I'm kind of shocked. I thought that'd go a little higher for Colin, though. Anyway, yes, Sword and Sorcery. It's your classic dungeon crawler. The AI system is top notch. Your characters are awesome. They're all pretty diverse to do away. The only fault I see is it's one of those games where you kind of almost need a healer. I kind of wish there were more that didn't necessarily need to have that healer class. But when you have it, I guess it really amps up the easiness, maybe. But anyway, great campaign. It's got the cool secret storybook, so you don't know what's coming, even though you're laying the whole board out, which also helps. So you got your whole thing ready to go. You're not just adding as you play, because sometimes that can be a pain in the butt. So you got everything out there. The only thing you might say be like, oh, this monster comes. You're like, oh, okay, dig into the monsters and grab one and put it out there. But that's not too tough. Hopefully you've painted it. But if you haven't, then you're a great menu. Oh, that's okay. Other than that, it's great. It can sometimes have a little bit of the pop references. I know some people aren't a big fan of that in a dungeon crawler, but I don't mind
it's
that.
so dumb. It's so
I liked it. See, that's where Mike and I are totally opposite. I love that.
I think it's great. It's good, it's bad, either way, whatever.
What do you mean pop references?
You'll meet Captain Jack Sparrow in the middle of your dungeon crawl for no reason.
Well, his name wasn't Jack Sparrow.
No.
It was
it was Sparrow
Jack. The Jack.
Right, but it's worse. It's worse.
But I really enjoyed it. The people I've played it with really enjoyed it. I should back up. I played it twice with 2 different groups. One group did not like it. The other group did like it. And the one group that didn't like it thought the characters didn't really have enough difference in them. But I don't think you see a lot of the differences until you get going in the game. And sometimes people don't have the want to go that far in a dungeon crawler.
That's what I was going to ask. Did I quit too early? Because I know Colin said I did. I only got through the first 5 missions and it didn't seem that exciting. And Colin said once you get into the second part of the campaign and the dragon and stuff is where your characters really become super diverse and interesting and have cool combos and all that stuff.
You actually have choices.
Yeah.
I felt like there were no choices for the first few missions, and I quit.
It was always the exact same powers, using the exact same way. There was nothing to do except that. So I'm happy to hear that. Although I guess that's rough for starting out.
And I would say
you can always
that
start farther in. You don't have to instantly. And that's another thing about it. This is a drop-in game if you want it to be. You can drop in with set skills, you get 5 skills kind of thing.
Yeah, but then you mess up the story. So, I mean, if you want to enjoy the story, you're going to want to start from the beginning.
You won't meet Sparrowjack. How will you ever live?
Exactly. It'll be sad. Well, and I would say that the reason that this didn't score as highly for me is that cooperative, I've never had it be a positive experience. Solo, I've had positive experiences, but cooperative, it's too slow. Individual turns take forever. You'll have middle of the turn activation of reading text, and then an enemy will come out, then it'll activate. And all of a sudden, someone who hasn't had a turn in the last 45 minutes is falling asleep at the table. So cooperatively, I did not like the game. Solo, it was amazing because it was all just me, but I wouldn't really recommend it co-op. So that's probably why it wasn't as high.
Okay. Yeah, and I did have the 2 different experiences. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I had I played this a lot with Elijah, just the 2 of us cooperative, and it went really well. And we played without a healer. So because you have the economy engine in the game is you get someone's gold that you can just buy the med packs you need, or whatever it's called, health potions in this game. So yeah, you didn't really need a healer to make it through. But yeah, I definitely agree that the beginning of the game, it's kind of it kind of slow to ramp up, but it eventually gets it. But like the AI is so good. Like that puzzle of like this guy, if I'm 3 away, it's the best situation for me because he's going to run up and shoot me, and they feel dynamic. And honestly, like even if you see the same enemy again, they have different special powers. So it changes a little bit how they play. And now you have a new puzzle to solve, and I love that aspect of it.
Yeah, really good AI.
So that was our number 25, 287 points, Sword and Sorcery. I prefer the card-based dungeon crawlers, but this is a very, very good game. It's ahead of Descent and a couple other board-based dungeon crawlers for me.
Well, these are all number 24, right? Then the last two in this next one, since they all have the same number of points.
They all have the same number of points. I'm not sure. Maybe
It's
just
just
alphabetical
alphabetical.
order. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Whatever.
Well, they're tied for
so-
24.
And so it happened.
So number 24, another game, 287 points. Mike and me are primary responsible for this one. I adore this game, and so does Mike. It is Space Alert.
Oh man, Space Alert.
Yeah,
That
Space
is-
Alert. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is another like chaotic real-time game. I like these. But this is also one of the thinkiest chaotic real-time games I've ever played, which can be bad. Like probably the most negative thing for co-op for this and not solo, because I've played this more solo than co-op, is that I want to play all the crazy stuff, and I gotta like be like, okay, so let's slowly play mission 1.0. Oh, good, you won. Now let's slowly introduce you to 1.1, and you hope they like it. And you're like,
Yes.
please keep playing with me so I can bring out all my toys, you know?
I want to play Mission 7. Come on.
Yeah. So I still put it so high because I love this game so much. But I do think it's hard to get to the table compared to solo. So that's why it's not like in my top 10, for example.
Peter, you played it, not as high for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like it, but I don't know what's going on. Like, I like doing my part, but like, there's an enemy at 3, and I'm like, okay, so what do you want me to do about that? I know I got to shoot it, but do I shoot it now? Do I shoot it
your
next
zone.
turn?
It's in your
Like-
zone. You're
like-
at the
like-
gun that can shoot it. Peter, shoot it.
Which
Peter
one
wants-
should I put that on? I mean, you want to talk about a game that shouldn't be alpha gamed, but is for me because I literally don't have any idea. It's like, what turn should I shoot on? What else is going on? Do you need me to load something up? I can shake the mouse. I can do that. Like that's like I can do that job. So I mean, it's a great game. I think it's really good. I have fun when I play it, but because I've never run it, I really don't. It's very hard for me to follow what's going on in the game. And I think maybe if I ran it myself, I would enjoy it more. But you know, sometimes when you're in a game and like somebody else is always running it and doing the AI, like it's hard to figure out why it's doing what it's doing. And so sometimes I just fall behind on that one for whatever reason.
It's an older Vlada Chvátil design. It is actually one of the 2 games that got me into cooperative gaming, Space Alert and Pandemic. So it will always. So actually, Mike, I'd like to come visit you at some point. Let's play some Space Alert. Let's play some Space Alert.
Man. Dude,
I'll play with you guys. I'll be like the bot. You tell me what to do.
Mission 7.
Peter, you aren't allowed in. No. We're gonna bust out the.
Yeah,
We're gonna
we
bust
want
out the
pro
the
players,
expansion.
pro players.
The expansion where you have double actions.
Yes,
Melts my
yes,
brain,
yes.
man.
BNA, yes, let's do it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna stream it. It's gonna be great.
Yeah,
guys are
Peter
having
will be
too
like,
much fun.
hey guys, there's a guy fired. We're like, we got it, Peter. We got it. Stay over in your corner.
I'll shake the
Jiggle
mouse.
the mouse,
I'll shake
Peter,
the
jiggle
mouse.
the
I got it. I can do that.
Now the problem with this plan is Jason's probably gonna go to the wrong house. He's probably going to Peter's house instead.
That was awesome.
Oh man, what are you doing in Minnesota, Jason? How could you? Oh
Nice.
my god, a little bit of inside joke, people. I've been mixed up with Mike the entire time. So anyway, that was number
Oh my
24.
gosh.
Space
That's
Alert.
not inside. People have been drinking. People are drunk at this point. You've mixed us up so much.
Pretty bad. All right, so we are going to go to our number 23. We're going to bring Bairnt back in. This is not a campaign game, no minis in this
What?
game, but the IP.
I know it is. I think I know
But
what
the
this is.
IP has brought Bairnt in. What game am I talking about for our number 23, 287 points, Bairnt?
It has to be an aliens game of some kind.
Legendary Encounters Alien.
Oh yeah.
I rated
dig it.
that the highest. I actually thought Peter might put this up there because that's one
I
he
did put
really
it up
do.
there.
Yes, this one's phenomenal. This is one that if we don't know what we want to play and we don't really have an idea of what to play, this hits the table. This is what comes out. Every group I play with, I've showed them this game. And if we don't have something set up for that night, they're like, let's just play that Aliens game. I'm like, yes, let's play that Aliens game. That sounds like a fantastic idea. Yeah, exactly. Super hard to twist my arm for this one. It's the only legendary game I own. I don't own any of the other ones. I even own the Queen expansion until I found out it was actually kind of not a co-op part. It was more that the Queen is somebody else, I think is how it works. And so I don't actually play too much of it.
Well, that's frustrating.
Yeah, I still have it
know
all,
that.
but I think from what I've read from the rules, somebody controls the Queen alien. And there's a way to just play the alien in Legendary too. Somebody can actually take over the
Colin's
alien.
played it,
I
right?
was gonna say there's 2 missions in there, Bairnt. You gotta make sure to check your whole thing.
Okay,
dude.
I'll have to
Yep.
check that out.
You can play 2 new scenarios.
Then I'm totally going to do that on my channel. So yeah. And
So-
I have all this. I have all the other expansions for it too, and they're all really good. They had so much. They had the extra characters. They had extra things. They had the extra little symbols that activate other things. There's a lot of different things going on in your deck building. It's not just like, oh, I'll buy this guy because he has the best. Now you got to kind of some of the connecting of symbols to make different combos happen inside your character. You want to try to get that to go. Of course, trying to get the right characters together to even play. We usually play 4 players. Works really well. You can get sergeants that then can help boost certain players. You can play cards with each other, which is where your co-op comes in. You can really like, hey, does anybody got to coordinate? I need 2 more. Okay, yeah, here's a coordinate. Cool, I can buy this awesome card. So you're all working together to try to kill these aliens and complete the missions. And they are exactly like the movie, which is awesome. They make it feel like the movie. Even the prequels, I guess you could call them, from the expansion that came out, they kind of make it feel a little bit like the movie, which is pretty cool. So all of the, and even add in the bad guys, like in Aliens, Burke is in the alien deck and he comes out. You got to deal with him.
Yep.
Ash
This
is
what
in the
happens
alien
with
deck.
Bairnt. We let him sleep for like 6 games. And then
Yeah, then I can talk.
unleash a torrent like a fire hose.
He gets excited. Yes.
And this is a cool game to get excited about. So
Well, I figured out why it was higher on Barron's list than mine, though.
There you
Because
go.
it was ranked 27 for me, but there's only 25 dungeon crawlers with campaigns, and this was ranked 26 for him because he only had 26 games on his list. So that's why it's higher for Bairnt than me. But no, I like it too. Bairnt, you summed it all up. That cooperate thing is probably the coolest thing, and they didn't do that enough in the other legendary games. And it's just the most thematic one. The horror, the dread you feel in it is just amazing. It does a great job of reliving the movies. I know, Colin, you've played it too.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy it. I don't like the IP really, but I really love the game.
I like
All
it
right,
too.
So I'm gonna speed this through a little bit. We're kind of slowing down as we get on. More to say about the games because we like these games more. So just
Yes.
kind of try to zip these through as much as we can because we don't want to be here until 12:30. But if you enjoy us, please Shelf Stories on YouTube or the podcast. Either way, it's all good. Okay, so we are going to go back to Peter for this one, his second game overall. We say we were going to get back to the puzzles, and here it is. Unlock.
Unlock's so good. And it's just getting better. I mean, for those of you who've only played the first couple of unlocks and haven't played anything recently, you're missing out. The series just gets better and better all the time. It is by far my favorite escape room game. The puzzles are neat, but what's better is they typically do a really good job of fitting the story in with the puzzles. You don't feel like you're doing a puzzle for puzzle's sake, which for almost every other one of these escape room games, it's like, why am I folding cards into
Oh
a
my
triangle?
gosh.
I don't know. Like,
It's
you
like,
know
of
what I
course,
mean?
Of course, this person built his mansion with like little math problems on every door. It's like, shut the hell up, exit.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
You're running in quicksand and you fall into a giant 4x6 pyramid box through the quicksand.
Right. Right. And the thing that annoys me the most about the game, which is the stupid little numbers, they're all like where you have to like find a number on a card and it tells you to get that card. Those are still all thematically done because it's like, if you look in the pocket, like you'll see a number in the pocket and there's a key in the guy's pocket, right? So it's thematically integrated. It does the best job of that. The app is amazing. But again, so I think there are 2 big cons with this series. Number one, if you played it early, they hadn't hit their stride yet. The games definitely got better as they've gone along. And the other thing is, if you've played it with like 3 or 4 or, you know, more than that, it's not that kind of a game. It's a 2-player game. Like it really is. Unlock is best at 2. I think all these escape room games are best at 2. So if you're trying to play it with too many people, I think that would be a problem too. But if you want to get into an escape room game, for me, it's the best. I mean, I like the app integration as well. So I like it all.
Colin, you had it rated. I'm assuming that you played the first two and kind of dropped off.
Yeah, I really did not like the unlock. I like the exit way better, but that's just because I like the puzzles for puzzle's sakes. If I'm doing a puzzle game, I want cool puzzles where I'm folding the cards and I'm putting a pencil through it and I'm lighting a candle and trying to get the shadow in the right spot. I mean, that's what I was just doing actually just last week. Love that. I felt like the unlock ones were okay, but I have not done any of the new ones. So makes me think I might need to go and look at some of the newer ones.
Mm-hmm.
You're in luck. I have them all. I'll bring them over sometime.
Oh, thanks,
Bairnt.
And again, keep it to 2. Seriously.
Okay, yeah, totally.
All right, so also at 289 points, so right there with Unlock, and this is primarily myself, Colin, and Bairnt on this one. I have a feeling that if the other gentlemen had played this, they would rank it high as well, and it's going to keep on rocketing up. This one is excellent. It is Sleeping Gods.
Oh, I want to play this so much.
Came out. Both Colin and Bairnt have rated it their number 3 or 4 game overall, and I rated it very highly myself. Colin, go ahead and sing the virtues of Sleeping Gods.
It's hard to explain. It's very easy to explain. The game, all you're doing in the game is exploring a world, and in that world, you're trying to find totems because what you're trying to do is wake the gods that have brought you to this land. And how you do that is just by exploring areas on the map and traveling across it. You have 9 characters. You always play with 9, no matter how many people are playing. And you will use these characters, and they have backstories, they have lives, they have all these things that intricately play into everything that's happening within the board game itself. Had probably one of the best experiences I've ever had playing a board game, playing Sleeping Gods. Played it actually with Bairnt. So Bairnt and I had a very similar experience, but absolutely wonderful. We've played one campaign. I'm immediately starting a second one. That's how much I like it. So to have that be what you're doing when you have so many board games out there, it says something about the game.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, do you have that one?
I think it's coming, so we'll see what happens.
All right.
Bairnt,
Yeah, maybe we'll even try to play that because it's mostly a story game, right?
Yes,
it
definitely.
is.
I wonder if we
Pretty
could
much
play
a
it
story game, yeah.
virtually, right? Is it something
Absolutely,
you
you
can
could
play
play
with like a
virtually.
webcam? Yeah, maybe we'll try that.
Yeah.
Or
Easy
maybe
to
I'll
do
just
that
play
way.
by myself and say, forget you.
I mean, that's probably what's going to happen. Let's be honest. And then he's going to call it before I get a chance to play it. Is really what's going to happen. We know.
No. If Mike calls it, is coming to me, and if he doesn't bring it to me, I'm driving to his house and kicking him. You know what?
Great. I'm going to get my butt
I
kicked.
have a feeling that Mike might call this
Jason's
one.
going to come
I have a
after you.
feeling because Mike hates fun. He's going to call
True.
it, and it's coming right here. Right
Mike
here.
hates
You see
fun.
this? You see this? It needs
fun.
a little bit of Sleeping Gods. Near and Far, which was the predecessor, is a 9 out of 10 game for me. I love Near and Far. I love the campaign in that one. Ryan Lockett. Above and Below, not so great, but Near and Far was great, and Sleeping Gods is just the evolution of that. It's completely wonderful.
Oh, can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
One more thing. And what I love about what he did with the game is not only is that the story is so solid, but then there's actually really solid mechanics to back it up.
Yeah.
So
The
a lot of
combat
times you'll
is
get
so
one or the
good.
other. Yep. And so having that really makes the game because so many games you have great story and meh mechanics or great mechanics and meh story. This
All right,
one,
I'm going to slow us
both.
down for 1 minute because I know this one's not going to end up on our list. Forgotten Waters, or maybe it will show. How would you compare it to Forgotten Waters?
Oh, this is by far way better than Forgotten Waters. The only advantage of Forgotten Waters is that you can add new scenarios. Sleeping Gods is all in a book, but there's so much more to explore there, and you care so much more about your characters.
Forgotten Waters was
Yeah.
hilarious too. I doubt this is
Yeah.
going to be as funny as that one.
No, and that's a good point. It's not as funny. I mean, I've played 2 campaigns or 2 thingies of Forgotten Waters, and it's definitely not as funny as Forgotten Waters. But I also cared a lot more about what was actually happening in the world.
Sweet. And I'm not a storytelling guy, but like it excites me. I want to try this one for sure.
Yeah.
So that was our number 21, Sleeping Gods. If we do this again in a year, it'll be higher. I guarantee it.
Wait, hopefully we'll have played it by then. All right, let's go.
Number 20, we are going to bring the crew back in here to talk about the crew.
Oh,
You see what I did there?
I do.
Mike and Peter both love this game.
I hate this game.
It's funny because
Wait. Sorry. It is.
No.
Peter-
You're right. You're right. And I hate this game. Go ahead, Peter.
Right. I mean, it's so crazy to me because I was looking. So when I got the list of games, I got it from Mike because like I didn't want to look up every co-op game ever existed. Right. I knew most of the games on his list I will have played before. And then I added ones that I knew that he missed. But, in doing that, I saw his ordering, which he did end up changing later. But I saw his ordering. I'm like, why is the crew so high on your list? Literally every time we play it, you're just cursing and you're like, I hate this game. This is so stupid. Like literally every time we play it, it's like, I'm like, okay, I guess he hates it and he's just playing it to like make us feel good or whatever. But he literally every time we play it, like if you watch, I don't know if we still have the video on stream, but like Mike is just frustrated the entire time. And then I like see it. It's like his number 5 game or something. Like, what are you doing? Like, so it really shocked me. So yes, when Mike says he hated it, I really believe him on that. But it's fun. It's trick taking. I am a trick taking player from way back in the day. Look, I'm never going to read any of those stupid stories. Forget it. We talked about storytelling games. There's like a paragraph or two for each of these missions, and they don't mean anything, literally. But the trick taking is great. And so I love it. I have a lot of fun. It's cooperative trick taking. There's only one other one, which is Fox in the Forest Duet. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, for 2 players, I'd play Fox in the Forest. But if you're 3 or 4, this game is great. I've enjoyed it every time. And if you're an old school trick taker, it does something that you haven't seen before. And it makes you think in ways you've never had to in trick taking before. So as a trick taking player, I just absolutely love it.
Colin, you did not rate it at all. Have you played it?
No, I have not played it.
Okay, I think I don't know, maybe you won't like it because sometimes you hate fun. I'm not sure. You just
No, that's Mike's thing. That's not my thing. I love fun. I just haven't played it. I haven't picked it up. I got to pick it up.
It's a frustrating game for sure. And there you can get struck with randomness for sure, and that's what Mike is complaining about. But there is enough of a heart there.
Yeah, and I mean, I hate it, and I complain so much, and I've played it like 1,000 times in the last
Right.
2 months or whatever. So there you go.
All right, so that was our number 20, The Crew, The Quest for Planet 9. We're going on to number 19. Keep on sleeping, Barry. You're good. We'll plug you back in when we get to a dungeon crawling game. Okay, so we are going to a Colin special. Colin really likes this one, so do a bunch of us as well. It is Kingdom Rush.
Oh, Kingdom Rush. I've now fully painted the game. That tells you how much I like it. I only do that in a few games. In this game, it's based off of the app. If you have the Kingdom Rush app, it is a tower defense game, but it is done very well cooperatively. It's simultaneous play with polyominoes that you're putting out onto the enemy hordes, trying to defeat them. The boss play is really cool and unique because you actually have a miniature for the boss, and then you've got other cards that you have to complete for them, and then they'll attack you back. You're putting your towers out on the board, but if you don't, you can actually pass them to your teammates and then they level up. So it's a great way to cooperate together. You're all doing stuff at the same time. It's wonderful. I can't get enough of this game. I've played it in the last 3 weeks. I've played it 15 times. So it has a full campaign where it slowly adds in rules too, which is super helpful to help people learn how to play the game as well.
Biggest barrier that people have with this game is that it's hard. And especially right out the gate, it's hard.
Oh my
so
gosh.
that's like adjustable, and it's a little bit bland unless you get into the 3rd, 4th, 5th scenario, at which point it's like, oh man, I want to keep playing this. So it's unnecessarily high barrier for entry, but once you're in, Kingdom Rush is excellent. I remember,
and I don't know why they suggest you start on like the highest level or whatever, because the only difference is you have like more life on your tower or whatever, and maybe you'll get an extra spell or something, but they could have easily just started you with more life and then like given it a goal rating, right? If you beat it with 3 life or less gone, then you get 4 stars or whatever. You know what I mean? The app, it's not like you choose the number of stars when you go in. So I don't know why they made that choice. It was a little bit weird one. I wish they would have started you with more life and then given you a degree of success or failure.
Well, and then also the new one, which by the time this airs will have already finished its campaign on GameFound. The new one gets rid of the thing I hate the most in the game, which is the portal enemies, which are like anti-fun in multiple ways. And they got rid of them. And I'm like, damn it, I want to play that second version because the first version's already so good. And now you're getting rid of the thing I don't like. Yes, throw me in, so.
Yeah, it has a chance to move way up if they get rid of those portal enemies for me.
I hate those guys.
Oh, really? I love them. I thought they were so cool because you have to give up a tower for it. That's
the
hard part.
They're a cool puzzle, but they're terrible to teach the game to somebody because if they get in, you immediately lose, even if you're on the easiest difficulty setting. And like Peter, until I taught him that he should probably wait to shoot them a little bit, was terrible at the game because he was using his towers right away and losing them. So I'd
lose my best towers and I'd have nothing left over to like finish them off. I was like, what is going on here? Why can't I beat this game?
They're just kind of wonky. So I'm not saying they aren't good. They make the puzzle tougher. I'm just glad that they're moving to something else.
Okay. Steve, haven't played it?
I have not played it. It was in my cart back, and I didn't have the finance at the time, so I never got around to it. But I gotta say, the polynomial thing for me just doesn't do anything for me. It's like
Okay.
don't dislike it, don't like it. But this game is the exception. This is the one polynomial game that got my radar. Read the rulebook and everything. It looked awesome. I just never got into playing it. So like, I'm very interested in the second iteration of this as a potential purchase.
As we get higher in the list, there will be more and more excitement. Believe me, we are really building up. This was 300 points, so like a huge cluster of very similarly rated games, and now we're going to start to really amp up. Like at this point, we're going to really amp up. I am very surprised that Bairnt has not played this game, but when I think about it, no minis, so you're going to skip it. However, it is a really, really good game, and I'm going to let I think Steve. Yeah, we're going to bring Steve back. Also, Colin rated it very, very highly. This is Runebound, 3rd edition. 302
never played
points. 302 points are number 18.
This one has minis in it, just the hero minis. But yes, this game is excellent. It is an old Fantasy Flight game where you are exploring the world. It's kind of an open world type environment, and you have different scenarios to go through. But the reason why I love this game is because I'm a huge fan of the open world. Oh, you have it. There you go. There you go.
Mike has
But like you can go wherever you want to do whatever you want. And the nice thing about it is I mean, combat's fun, don't get me wrong, but I like it when I can do things other than combat, and this game does that in spades. Like, I can go over here and just talk to people, and like I get experience from that. I could go exploring, I get experience for that too. I could go beat something up if I want to, I get experience for that. And how that integrates in the game is excellent. I think the reason why this game never did very well is because it's Pogs. It's you're instead of rolling D6, which is easy to handle, you're rolling a D2, so less luck, but kind of awkward, like physically to manage. But I just throw all them all into a bag and draw them out. So.
Colin is making
That's how you look.
That's how you look.
Yeah, it's how you look. You know, and then you throw them.
The other rough thing with it is that it wasn't solo co-op outside of the gate.
Correct.
And now you can find like the base game for like $15-$20, like anywhere you look. But the friggin' expansion that makes it solo co-op is like $100. So it's really sucks.
I mean, together it balances out to like what people probably paid for it originally.
Yeah, there you go.
I haven't played it much co-op. It would probably be higher on my list if I had. I played it solo many more times than I played. I think I've only played it co-op once with Mike, and that was it. So I need to get this one played more.
Open world.
I will say this is a
Colin?
much better low player count game than like 4 or 5, or I guess up to 4.
4.
There's too much downtime in the higher player counts. So
Colin, you did a recent playthrough, I believe, on that One Stop Coop Shop.
Yeah, somewhat recently. I did just one of the one of the expansion scenarios.
Okay. Bairnt, it's very good. Play it.
I'll
I'm
bring it
planning
to you.
to take Colin's copy.
Yep.
If we're done here.
Just do it.
The next
so-
playthrough series. Look for it on the after Kingdom Death is done.
Yeah.
So I am going to a number 311 points. So we're really starting to amp up here. I'm very surprised that this one made the list so high. I didn't rank it. I've not played it. Neither did Bairnt. He hasn't played it, but everyone else rated it very, very highly. Nostalgia pick on some level. We're going to the Wayback Machine for Gears of War, the board game.
I never played it again.
Great.
Colin's got it. I have to. We
How have
keep
you not
talking,
played that,
We
Bairnt?
keep
How have you
talking about wanting to play it. We're like,
Yeah.
there's like, what should we do? Oh, we should play like Gears of War games. So then all of a sudden, by the time we're going to get together, oh, I got this great idea. We're going to play this game. And it's like,
So we
oh,
played
okay.
Sleeping Gods.
Yeah, so
I mean-
we play Sleeping Gods. Or then we play like Shadow Forbidden Fortress. Or then we play like yes.
You know
yes.
why? Because Colin knows you're going to die in like 5 minutes after you set it up. So he's like not into it, you know?
On my radar. It's on my radar. Hugely on my radar.
Yeah, so
break
Gears of
it down
War-
for us. Gears of War, the board game,
Yeah.
Mike.
So what? Oh, Mike, go ahead.
Okay,
Mike.
Colin, you can do it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Gears of War is a great game. It's card based, actually. It's a card based dungeon crawler. You'll also be rolling dice for actual activation, but you have cards in your hand that's your life. They're also your actions. So you have all these choices of, do I want to use this card for an action, or do I want to hold it? Because if I'm going to take damage and I can discard it and I don't die. You also have reactions on the card. So if an enemy comes into a space, you can actually discard one of your cards as a reaction ability, and you can reaction to help other players. It's really cooperative. Cover is amazing in the game. The best cover I've ever seen in a board game by far. The missions are variable. They're all one-off missions, so that's fun. You can start at mission 5, mission 1. You don't have to try and do them in any order. Really solid game. The dice suck. The dice can suck. There's zero mitigation on the dice.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so when you roll those, you're going to go, oh, I should be able to do 15 damage. You do none. And the enemy blocks all of it.
And
or
you lose
other
ammo
amount.
too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And you have to
use all your
ammo.
ammo. Then you're
Yeah.
just done. Oh,
it's
my
just,
god.
it's terrible. So
so
it's definitely an
brutal.
older game because
Yes.
that part is terrible. But everything else in the game, I am so impressed with it. I am very impressed with it. Fireteam Zero did some different things, but they're also very similar. And I love both games.
All right, so I need to play it. It's one of those like kind of hoary old games that I really want to like knock off. There's a couple of those on those lists. Gears of War is definitely one of them. Hard to find, out of print, but you know, it got. There's
Next
enough
time
people
we all
out there,
can get
people-
together, guys. We got a list. We definitely got to do a co-op con now.
Yeah,
But even if
co-op
it's just us.
We do co-op con. You heard it here. We heard it here second or third or something like that. But we'll get something going. All right. So now we're going to number 16. We're going to bring Jason back in. This is my number 2 game overall, a 10 out of 10 game. I've played 4,000 games of this, according to Board Game Arena. I love it. I will play this game forever.
Board Game Arena, it's fast.
What?
Board Game Arena, it's got to be
I'm
fast.
trying to think what it is.
Yeah,
Hanabi?
I don't know.
Hanabi!
Hey! Because I play a lot of Hanabi on Board Game Arena, so I figured.
Hanabi! It's one of those games like if I'm a psychotherapist, I have a session, and then I have a break. I'm gonna play a game of Hanabi, and then I go back to another session. It's like just get in there. I love Hanabi. It is a limited communication game. I don't know any other game like it where you have cards and you're holding them outward facing, so you don't know your own cards, but you can see everybody else's cards. Yep, there you go, there you go, Peter.
Peter being Mike.
He knows. That was on purpose.
Damn it!
It's too
Anyway.
obvious.
Okay, so you're guessing other people's or other people are giving you hints about what to play. You giving other people hints about what they can play, and it's a cool game out of the box. It's a party scenario. So like I've taken this to parties and people get all frustrated, and it's like they're very emotionally wrapped and invested. And it's one of those things where it's like it could really suck because you score 7 points and you lose, and like, how could you not? I gave you the 3 clue. I told I meant to play it. But if it comes together, like Space Alert, which is another one where once it comes together, and another game that we're going to talk about that's one of Peter's favorites, it's a disaster if it goes wrong, but if it goes right, it is amazing. So, and I play with the advanced conventions, so I can play with the multicolor and the black powder I can play with the hardest setting, and it's still a challenge. So Hanabi is I'll be playing that game forever. Bairnt, wake up. I'm going to get you in a little bit, but who else here enjoys Hanabi?
Yeah, I play with my wife all the time. We've only had one perfect game, so I think I'm not very good at it, but I still have fun every single time as we yell at each other for missing clues.
Steve, sounds like you played it too.
Yeah, I played this one a lot, especially when it first came out. I haven't played it a ton recently, but it's one that I will always play. It's like you said, it's easy to teach, and it provides that challenge where like usually the first game people are like, how's this work? I can't give clues, and at the end of the first game, like, okay, I got it. Let's play again. And then like they play another game, like, oh, we did better. Let's play again. And any game that evokes that reaction is a good game in my opinion.
Release those extra expansions in English, please. They're the extra expansion.
I didn't even know there were any extra expansions.
Oh man, they're so good.
Ah.
That is Hanabi.
Take it from the guy who's played 5,000 times.
Yeah, I was gonna say
he's not playing the base game 5,000 games later.
So let's get up to number 15, 318 points. The first game on that we've talked about that all of us have rated. All of us have played this.
Oh, interesting.
Rated it. So it is a cooperative party game.
Oh,
what are we talking about here?
Code names.
Just
Code
one.
names.
Just
Or
one?
just one.
Just one.
Okay.
Oh, just one. Okay.
Mhm.
So the person that rated it highest actually the person that rated it highest is Steve.
No.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, I thought it'd be Peter with it being his
I
number
thought
one
it
or
would be
whatever.
Peter too, and Peter
Yep.
did rate it very, very highly, but Steve kind of edged him out. So Steve, go ahead and break down just one.
This game is very simple in the fact that you have a card in front of you and you're trying to get the person to guess a single word. And everyone else around the table is writing a single word on a whiteboard. And then before showing it to the guesser, they compare notes. And if any of those words match, they go away. And so you have to, with the remainder, try to guess it. And it's just the simplest thing ever. And the reason why this ranks so high for me, because I've had great experiences with this one with like any group because it's so simple to teach, and it winds up being very fun. And you can, I think it plays up to what six in the box, but there's no reason you can't increase that
like
more.
99.
Yeah, really. Like you just say, here, having no whiteboard. We had so many people sitting around the table playing this one. It gets even more crazy because they have more conflict and like, oh, you guessed the same one I did, and like, oh, this will be like. Guess what should someone can write them Potter? Who's gonna write Potter? But you can't say you're gonna write them Potter, right? But that's a really easy clue. So it's like, I don't know. It's a great game. Highly recommend this one. Excellent party game.
I just played it the other day. This is the first game I played with people outside of my household since the pandemic has started.
Oh, wow.
And I played it with my mom and her boyfriend, and it was great. And I just realized I ranked it 30. I should have put it higher. It definitely should be higher on my list. Because it's like every time I play it, I enjoy it. And I literally just played it again. And I was like, oh, this game is so fun. Why do I forget how fun it is when I don't play it? It's one of those games, when I haven't seen it in a while, it kind of goes out of the memory banks. But like every time I bring it out, I have fun with it. So yeah, no, it is a great game. I get made fun of all the time for it being my game of the year a couple of years ago. I mean, we all know Marvel Champions would have been that game if it was now. But at the time it was great. And I still like it to this day.
Just One is an excellent cooperative party game. Plays as high. I will play this game over Mysterium like 10 times out of 8. Yeah. In terms of a cooperative, we used to be stuck with Mysterium. It's like, oh, we got 6 players. It looks like we're playing Mysterium again. Just One, perfectly nice palate cleanse at the end of the night. Love it. All right. So we are now going to a Colin and Bairnt special. Yet another Colin and Bairnt special. That is another dungeon crawling adventure game with minis. This one is a little bit.
Oh, I know which one it is.
Highly regarded by the panel. So it's a little bit higher. Go ahead and guess what it is.
I guess maybe I'm not really guessing. I would go Hellboy.
No.
As soon as you said the other panel was part of it,
you need a little bit of backup. No one else.
You need a backup. Well, I guess I didn't get enough backup.
Is it like Shadows of Brimstone?
Lord of the Rings, Journeys in Middle Earth.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
that is a good game.
Our number 15 co-op overall. And so go ahead, Bairnt. Sing the praises.
Oh, sing the praises. Well, actually, the praise singer is over there. He's painted his entire collection. He has played through everything in it almost. I enjoy it. Basically, what it is it's kind of an adventure. I'd say it's an adventure game. And you have your characters from Lord of the Rings that you could choose to have. You're going to be able to have a skill deck that actually you're going to be pulling from to try to get successes, but also that deck is going to be stuff you're going to be putting out in front of you to be able to enhance the way your character can play and cooperate with the other characters on the board. It's run by an app, which actually helps because then you have just a small amount of miniatures, but then that miniature can be like 8 different types of, I shouldn't say types of, but have difficulty built into him. So the app can.
It's a mic game. It's a mic miniature.
Yeah.
It's one miniature to rule them all. Exactly. One miniature to bind them.
And it has an awesome campaign system that runs through it. The story is all on the app. Everything's saved and done on the app, which really helps. Even your leveling progression, everything is all done on the app. It tells you everything you need to know. Great game. All the expansions that come out for it are really good. The Belrog I'm still working on. He's over here. I've primed him, but I haven't painted him yet. So yep, I know. I got to work on that. I'm a failure. But other than that, it's I'd say one of Fantasy Flight's best games out there. I know there's probably a couple that are gonna get better than that according to the list here, but that one's a fantastic game and I really enjoy it. But Colin has played a ton too, and he has.
Yeah, Colin, take it away. Tell me about the expansions because I only have the base game.
Yeah, well, the expansions are just more of the same, just really good. I mean, just the story is more involved, and you've got more characters you can choose from. You've got more of the different classes that you can choose from.
You can be Gandalf, right?
Yes, you can be Gandalf, which
so you just blow up the board on turn 1, and you're like, okay, through mission 1, mission 2,
you could do that. I wish he had an ability where he could just defeat the Balrog and then go away, and then come back as the white Gandalf. That doesn't happen. I will say. So as much as I love this game, the thing that it's missing the most is one-off play. There is no one-off play. And it's frustrating to me that they haven't thought of doing that because I think the game would have more legs if they had some single scenarios. But they talk about it's all about the story, which I understand. But the challenge is it's hard to get people to come back all the time. So I have had my best experiences is doing an entire campaign in a weekend. That was 14 scenarios, by the way. That's a lot. Or I'm playing with my son and we're playing every freaking weekend, which is great. But, you know, it still breaks up the story and we can't remember what happened the last time. So I still love the game, but I would recommend it solo and cooperative, maybe 2 people.
Yeah.
Something like that.
See, because that's interesting. The only time I've played this, I played through the entire base scenario with 4 people, and we had an absolute blast.
Wow.
Every one of us was co-oping.
And I hear
I'm walking to this guy to help you out. Okay, we got to have the bard go first because they give the inspiration to this guy who can then run this way. Oh, we got to send somebody down this path over here to go check out this tree so that we can see if that's what we need. But it's not. Well, thank goodness, because all of our guys are going this way. So it actually worked so well that we actually had all this stuff going on all the time with 4 of us. It worked out.
And I hear
really
it's
cool.
hard. It's harder 4-player. Like it accelerates the thing faster.
Yes.
So I liked at 2-player, you can do a lot more exploring. You're not under as much time pressure, but I hear that's not the case at higher player count.
No, you had to be moving through that board. Like basically, if you had a piece of board not uncovered, you had to sprint through that board because every one that's not uncovered makes that meter go up even more. So there was a whole ton of stuff, like you said, unexplored, and that's kind of cool because then they even said, we could play that again. Isn't it different? I go, well, it kind of is different if you play it differently. Things are gonna be in different spots, and they said, well, it seems kind of cool. I'm like, all right, let's do it again.
Well, I'll tell you, mission 1, which I played 4 or 5 times at least, there's different missions and different quests in there. So I don't know if that continues throughout the campaign, but it is different each time you play it. Now, not the main quest or the main story is kind of the same, but all the side stuff you run into, there's different ways there's not one way to solve it, I guess.
I was a barrel rider in one of my playthroughs. I was a barrel rider.
Glad to hear it.
It was a side quest. I got that title. It was a title.
We fell out of the tree, I think 4 times in a row before we finally climbed the tree together. we lost the first scenario because we could not climb the tree.
Climb the tree.
Legolas fell out of it 4 times.
It happens. Those stupid trees.
That sounds in character for him.
That if I was around more people who liked it, I would get into it more. But for me, I had 2 difficulties with it. One, the first bunch of scenarios you're fighting like human ruffians, it didn't feel like Lord of the Rings at all.
Yeah.
The second one is that threat meter. Like I feel like the game doesn't give you enough breathing room. Like you're always pushing.
Well, I also wish it told me. It's like, you got some more threat. And I'm like, well, how close am I to, like, sometimes I don't feel like I know, like, how many turns I have left. And I wish I had more information. Like, the app kind of obfuscates things a little bit more than I would like.
They do a lot better with that now. They came up with an update. It's way better. You know,
you can
2 threat
see
per all these different things.
That's
2
good.
threat
I like
per
that.
character,
I like that.
1 threat per the flipped tokens, 1 threat for the threat tokens. But yeah, totally get what you're saying, Jason, about I mean, even you're playing characters that don't even make sense thematically. Like you're playing, with Bilbo, and then you're playing with Gandalf, and you're playing with some random.
Well, I played with Legolas as a bard just because I thought it'd be funny.
Yeah. So
for no other reason.
I'm good on that.
There's definitely some things that are wrong with it. And Fantasy Flight, we know all of their adventure games, they push. They always want you to push, and that's their threat. It's all push, and they want you to keep moving. They don't want you to explore. And that, just going quickly back to another game, Sleeping Gods doesn't do that. And that's part of the reason why Sleeping Gods is so freaking good. So anyways, all right, let's keep going.
We're going to keep going. Number 13, a Jason special, but Mike is going to back me up on this because of the IP. Mostly, I bet for Mike. For me, it is the adventureness of it. It is Eldritch Horror. The reason I love Eldritch Horror is actually my number 4 game overall. I love this game. But I don't see the Cthulhu-ness of it. It is, to me, the Indiana Jones, the board game.
Yeah.
It is a world-spanning adventure. There's so much modularity for it. I have it right here on my back over here for the podcast. I both scenarios over here and every expansion. I love the enemies. I love the modularity of the enemies. I love the just the different adventure feelings, the sideboards and the expansion. So you have more breathing room. And it's weird because like in other Arkham games, there's like the same number of spots. Like there's like 24 spots, but like in regular Arkham, you're going to the library and you go into the janitor's closet. Here you're going to Japan and all these, and like, all these great things. And I fall for the magic trick, people. I know theme is a magic trick. I fall for the flavor text and like the internationalist of it, the emergent story that comes of like, having the great adventures. Do you play 2.5 hour games and then lose on a dice roll? Sure, why not?
Just take out the one card that says undo one of your entire
mysteries.
You got to crash the game a little bit to take out the really bleeding edge.
There's just one card that I know of that you got to take out because it like literally undoes a third of the game, which is ridiculous. Like it's like because you have to get 3 things to progress the game, and it says take one of them away as if you didn't do it, and then you got to like do it again. I'm like, Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. We're taking that card out.
Let
I
it
wasn't
go,
sure.
Let it go, Peter. Let it go.
Well, I wasn't sure if you had this right because I thought actually I liked it more than Mike.
I think he has it higher than me.
No, we
both
both have it at number 26.
Oh, really?
Believe it or not. So Jason had the most confidence I've ever seen him have because he knew either way he was right. Whether he said Peter or Mike, he was good because we both had it at 26.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's a game we both really like. Being that high on our list. For me, it is my favorite non-LCG version of the Cthulhu. Well, no, that's not even true because there's another one that's not a Fantasy Flight game that I like higher. But I don't know. I like it because compared to all the other Arkham Horrors, we'll just compare it that way. It just seems quick enough, but with an epic enough scale that it felt really good. And I liked what I was doing the whole time. And I felt like I was getting more powerful. And I was getting guns and all this stuff. And I could buy all this stuff. And it just, I don't know. It was a fun adventure romp. And it felt like that every time I played it.
Absolutely. All right. But just so that we get to top 10, because we have to get to top 10 at some point. That was Eldritch Horror, our number 13. Number 12, I'm going to boot it over to Colin to this one. A lot of us have rated it highly. Bairnt, you have magically not played this game. Like, we did throw you out of plane for your delinquents of not having played this minis-based campaign game, or maybe you just forgot to put it on your list.
There's a lot of games back here that you guys haven't played that I think are
Colin, tell us about 368 points, so really, really high, amped up a lot. Number 12 overall, Mechs versus Minions.
Yeah. Mechs versus Minions. I love this game. It's
Bairnt,
a programming.
how have you not played this game?
Yeah. Bairnt, I'm giving you this one too. I think
your
family
I get to
really
go
like
to Colin's. It's like Christmas tomorrow.
It's gonna be like 15 games, man. I'm just gonna keep
get your jersey while you're there too, man.
The jersey in the
is
at my
house.
Box. That is true. Mechs vs. Minions is a programming game at its heart. You're going to each round draft cards as a team and put them down onto your little board for activating your mech. Your mech is going to be moving across the board. You're trying to complete different objectives. That might be moving a bomb. That might be trying to just get to the end of the board. That might be trying to save the school from these minions that are coming. You get to do awesome. Yeah, exactly. And get out of the fire. The best part about the game is just how powerful you can feel and yet how ridiculous things can happen. Because when you take damage, you'll draw a damage card. You have to immediately activate that, but then you potentially slot it into your actual actions. And so now going forward, I was planning on always being able to move forward in slot 3. Well, now in slot 3, I'm turning 90 degrees to the right. And so, of course, that messes everything up. And so it's really fun to see when you're like, well, I wanted to go forward, but actually I'm going to go to the right and I'm going to run into you and then I'm going to blow up the bomb and then we're all going to lose. It's a lot of fun. It's very cooperative because you are all trying to determine which cards you want to grab from the actual draft. And then the scenario differences, this is another one where they ramp up. Once again, you do the scenarios. It's nice, easy rules, and then they add more rules as you go. There's a sweet boss that's in there. Oh, and did I mention that all of the guys are painted, pre-painted? Amazing quality, just amazing quality.
The bosses are, but the minions were not painted. So
that's true. Okay, the minions weren't, but they're washed. Yeah. They're washed minions. They look fantastic. You don't even need to do anything. I don't even think Bairnt would do anything. That's saying something. So super good quality, especially for the price. The only thing I wish is that they'd come out with some sort of expansion, but I think it's a one and done because it's Riot Games.
One and done.
But definitely enjoyed the game.
They had to work really hard on Telestone, so they couldn't come out with Mechs versus Minions too. Unfortunately,
they should have gone to Mechs versus Minions too.
So that was our number 12 Mechs vs. Minions. This came out in 2016. It hasn't had any support, but I think it made such a big impression on us that it stayed with us, which says a lot because a lot of the games that we know and play, we play them and then they kind of drop. And so, we kind of have to keep things fresh. But Mechs vs. Minions being this high should tell you that the quality there is just amazing.
I see it behind Peter because it's a giant box, so you can't miss it.
Yep, there it is.
Oh, I did miss it. It's on this side.
Yeah.
Yep. And our number 11 game, I actually was really surprised by this because a lot of people rated this pretty highly, including I believe it is Peter and Colin have rated this very, very highly. Also another one that Bairnt has played. I don't know if this has entered Steve's ambit yet, but a dungeon crawling minis adventure, Cthulhu Death May Die.
Yeah.
Number
this
11,
low? It's not in the top 10?
Not in the top 10.
Sad.
Go ahead. Tell us
Steve,
why
did you want to talk about this one? Or?
Oh, I can't. I've not played it.
Yeah,
that's why
he's the reason it's not in the top 10.
Oh, come on. All right. So it's great. I
Well,
mean,
send him your copy, Peter. You can fix this anytime.
No, my copy's not going to anywhere. Thank you very much. No, it's a great game. It is my number one dungeon crawler I have on my list. And the thing I love about it, again, similar to, so I compare it a lot to Deep Madness, actually, right behind me here. And it's because it's a puzzly game. Right now, this one's a little bit more dice rolly, fun, puzzly, I think. But the things you can do in this game are so cool because with very simple mechanics. Like if you run through a room of monsters, they're all going to follow you. So if I know Mike's in trouble, I'm literally going to run through a room with all those monsters, and they're all going to follow me out. And now Mike's fine; like he has plenty of time to recover or whatever. So you do kind of fun, kind of crazy things. And the leveling system in this game is so good. It's not as good as Adventure Tactics, but it is so good because like as you go, and this is, again, the theme, whatever, but as you're getting closer and closer to losing the game, you get more and more powerful. You're becoming more powerful as the game goes on. You're rolling more dice toward the end of the game. So you like want to push yourself toward losing, but it's a fine balance that you have to create. And so it's just such a simple mechanically game, but brings so much to the table.
Yeah, and something else to just mention is I love how modular it is. So you get to take, you've got your elder one that you can have, so your big bad, and then you have an actual scenario that you'll put together, and it makes a totally different story. Then you play with all the different investigators. Now, some of them are definitely better than others, but who cares, right? You can just pull one out, you put it down on the table, you get a little more insane. And as you go insane, you get more powers. And as you get more powers, you roll more dice. And as you roll more dice, you just have a lot more fun. So it's a blast. Every time it ends in a boss fight. I love boss fights. My son loves boss fights. So whenever we pull it out, it's always like, yeah, what boss are we going to take, Dad? And it's just a great time. And the boss isn't a pushover because you have to kill him at least 3 times. And so that also means you can't just like ramp up and then take him out. No, you're going to ramp up and then you can take him out one time, then he's going to jump over and you got to figure out how to deal with it. So they did a great job. Kumini or not, I'm not always impressed with. This one I super was.
Yeah, this is probably the best design I've seen from them. That's it.
Wait, even more than Bloodborne?
I wasn't going to say like in X number of years. I just mean I think it's the best design I've seen from them.
You haven't seen maybe how much Bloodborne you've played so far?
Oh no, I played a lot of Bloodborne.
Really?
It's pretty good. Death May Die is like 1,000 times better than Bloodborne. Bloodborne is pretty good. Oh, absolutely. I don't think most people would be on your side for that, Bairnt. Sorry.
Now, don't get me wrong. I put it on my list, obviously, pretty high. I did really enjoy Cthulhu Death May Die. I really enjoyed it. I think I put Bloodborne higher, though. But and maybe that's just because it is the newer one. And so, like, I'm just really enthralled with it right now, playing it right. I actually just took off my table, like, as we were getting ready to record.
It's on my table, but no, I still like Bloodborne better. Or wait, crap.
Yeah, you do.
But no, what Colin said.
It up again, Peter.
Yeah, that was Mike, by the way. So Drake, everybody.
That was totally on purpose. I think I'm getting better at this.
Okay. So I famously described this as, I forgot what Colin said exactly. I famously described this as my favorite MDS game because you just take the scenario deck, you take the boss deck, you shuffle them together. Why does everybody keep them separate? I don't understand it. You shuffle them together and you still get the environment in there and the boss in there. I don't know why this isn't done more often, and you're not doing double the enemy activations every turn. It just makes it so much smoother and easier. It's fun to play. It's easy to play. And yes, I hope for the future of MDS, they start smashing those decks together and stop making the enemy turns take 27 minutes between your turns.
So that was our number 11, Cthulhu Death May Die. We did 30 through 11, a little bit of a longer episode because more to say, more enthusiasm. So now that was 199, and we are going on to this Sunday, episode 200 of One Stop Co-op Shop podcast.
It's happening, people. It's happening.
Heck yeah.
All right, we'll see you guys Sunday.
Hey, everybody.
Bye.